All right, cool beans, everybody. Welcome to the beginning of the week, fundamental and technical analysis. Um, Starting with the dollar as always. I told you guys in the Telegram group that I expected to see Dixie open up, um, pulling back to the weekly PD array, right, off of last week's PD array. So this is last week's PD array. Um, and this is this week's PD array. So last week we had a premium array. This week we got a discount array. And that's what I was expecting price to open up and pull down towards. That's what we got. We got the open and price action pull down towards that weekly fair value gap. So what I want to see throughout the rest of the Asian markets and going into London markets is if we break above either of last week's premium arrays or if we stay below it. If we stay below it, then I'm gonna be looking for us to continue to pull down towards um this week's PD array, right? If we break above it, then I will look for the algorithm to price higher into the upper PD array and possibly Friday's buy side liquidity, which would be at the bottom of this weekly fair value gap that we have. Hold on, let me just make sure that that's a fair value gap. I'm sure it is. Yeah, right here. So, like I said, if we do break above the premium array level, then I'd be expecting us to run the upper PD level and run into run Friday's buy side liquidity, which will be at the bottom of this weekly fair value gap. So that's what I want to see. We pretty much open up on side, meaning on the right side of the market this week. We pretty much open up on side. So now I just want to see how the algorithm reacts to this level if and when we get there by throughout the rest of Asian markets tonight or by London opening. So that's pretty much what I wanted to see play out, and that's pretty much what we got. Um, Vice versa, we know our currency pairs, starting with Euro USD, um, are inversely correlated with the dollar, meaning that they move in the opposite direction. So if I wanted to see the pullback down to the discount rate for Dixie, then it's obvious that I wanted to see the pullback up into the premium array for Euro USD, and that's exactly what we got today. We got that pullback from the opening, which we opened right here yesterday. And we pulled back up into that lower level. Now, same thing. I want to see how price reacts to current to where we're currently at um throughout the rest of Asian markets and going into London. Um, you see that fair value gap right there filled in on the hour. So if let me see. All right. So we could see Euro USD pull back down because we still got inefficiencies to the downside. Let me see something right here. Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's be patient, see how price act throughout the rest of Asia and going into London. If the dollar continues to pull down into that PDOA, give me a second. I'm gonna let this golf cart pass by. All right, cool beans. If we see the dollar continue to pull down to that weekly PD array, you know now. Then we should see Euro USD continue to pull up into its PD array, right? Now I got two PD array. I got two PD arrays on Euro USD. I got a daily, which we're at now, right? And then I got this weekly. So we just have to see how price reacts to each level once it gets there. But this is the daily from Friday's down candle, right? And then this is the weekly from the weekly move. Um, what is this? Let me see what this is. This is, I have that right. There must be an hour fair value gap. Oh yeah, we don't need this. Let me see. We ran to and through in a way. Yeah, we don't need that. All right, so we good. So yeah, um, yeah. Let's see how price reacts throughout the rest of Asia and going into London. Let's see what the setup's looking like. For London kill zone and New York. Sorry, I'm out on the balcony and golf carts passing by left and right. But yeah, we just want to see how price reacts throughout the rest of tonight. Got this breaker block we just pushed through. So we respect this level. I'm definitely expecting us to pull back down. Yeah, because we never really retested last week's um PD array for Euro USD. We came down to that 50% level. So usually when price reacts to the 50% level, we see a big reaction off of it. And mean we're gonna get a continuation and a big expansion to the upside. But we see that today unless we get it throughout the rest of tonight, going into London and tomorrow. Then if we respect, other than that, if we respect the levels that we're currently at, then we may see currencies continue to, where Euro USD continue to pull down to retest last week's PDL rate because we never really got those levels retested. So that's what I want to see for currencies. Um, yeah. But we tested last week's upper PD array for GBP USD. Let me look at the dollar right quick. I mean the day right quick. We came back up into Friday's premium array today, respected it. It gave us a nice little wick. Looked like the 62 level of today's wick was consequent encroachment in that bottom level of Friday's PD array. So yeah, got a little tiny daily fair value gap to the downside on the pound. So the dollar may be suiting up to continue that. Let me see. Yeah, you may see the dollar run up to run Friday's high and into that daily fair value gap, and that would be the move we would need to see for currencies to get lower. See NZD USD. Yeah, we came up into Friday's PL rate beautifully today. Perfect. And we got that little imbalance to the downside on NZD/USD as well that we got on the pound right here. Right there. Does Euro have one? Let's see an imbalance on Euro. I'd rather it be on the daily. Let me go down to the hour though. Yeah, we do got those little fair value gaps on the hour to the downside. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Let me see. Oh, let me see something. We came down and hit that perfect. We got up here. We got nine up. Now we fill those in. All right. All right. Yeah. All right. So just be aware of what we're doing, what price is doing throughout the rest of Asia and going into London, and we'll see what the market gives us. Looking at silver, um, and then into these imbalances. Got more imbalance to the downside right here. This breaker block, this low, high, lower, low, and price extended up, hadn't really came back down. So we may see silver reach. We already reached up into this. We left this breakaway gap, right? We didn't fill it all the way in. Um, hmm. Unless we get what's this the daily unless we get above this currencies and metals looking bearish, y'all. Um, we need to get above this in order for us to push up. All right, so we'll just keep our eye on that. We break back below this aggressively and close below it, then I'll be looking for us to run down into this civvy. Sorry, busy, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. And then we'll look how price react to that because we got a breaker block. That's a daily breaker block inside of there. Um, that should be interesting. Let's see how price reacts off of there. All right. So, and we got another little fair value gap below that. So it's good setup for a long off of this city of fair value gap. So yeah, that's what we'll be looking for silver. Gold. About the same thing. About the same thing. Let me take that off. I got that off. Let me throw this on here. See what we looking like. We got divergence here between gold and silver. If you notice on silver, this is a breaker block, meaning low, high, lower, low. But you see this one ain't a lower low on gold. So that's not a breaker block. So okay. Let's see some quick for silver again. Okay. We shall see. We shall see. Time and price will tell the story. So that's what I'm looking for metals. See if we fall down into this fair value gap, guys, and how price reacts to that. If we get down into these levels and we start seeing uh power of three set up, right, and giving us those fair value gap pushes to the upside with some breaker blocks setting up within this structure, then we'll start looking for longer opportunities. Long and where? Back up to buy side liquidity. And what do we see above buy side liquidity? Fair value gap. So that would be the target if we start seeing those PD arrays set up within this structure. And when you hear PD array, don't just think that means the discount and the premium array that you put on your daily and weekly ranges. A fair value gap is a PD array. A breaker block is a PD array. An order block is a PD array. So just know that, right? So when I say if we start to see those PD arrays set up within this PD array, right? Because a fair value gap is a PD array, right? That's what I mean when I say if we see those PD arrays, meaning power of threes, fair value gaps, breaker blocks, order blocks, start to set up within this fair value gap or PD array, then that's what I'm talking about. Same thing for all. I'm just waiting for us to get above 75 and start showing us that aggressive bullish um, reactions off of that 75 level to then run this buy side liquidity and close this daily fair value gap in and get above it, close above it, and then I start looking for long and opportunities up to 100 and 130. Y'all know the scope of all. Uh, for S&P futures, E-mini futures. I told you guys that I wanted to see us open up and pull um up into Friday's PD array, right? Wanted to see us reach for that. This is Friday's PD array right here, these two levels. This level, these three levels here, 1, 2, 3, is last week's PD array, right? Last week's discount levels, right? This is the upper 62% discount level. This is the lower 79% discount level. And this is the consequent encroachment of that PD, of that PD array, meaning the 50% mark of that PD array, right? Half of that PD array. So, break it down to the hourly time frame. This morning we seen price open up at 9:30, push up, right? We ran the true day opening, which is midnight price. Remember, that is your true day opening, right? Your new day opening is at 6 p.m., right? The beginning of Asian markets, right? That's your new day opening, but your true day opening is New York midnight, right? And as you already know, if we are bearish, right, then one of the strategies that ICT teaches us is that if we're bearish, right, then you can simply look to buy above if we're bearish, you can simply look to sell short above the midnight opening price, right? And run it to your sell side liquidity or your sell side fair value gaps or whatever sell side PD arrays that you have to the sell side, right? And so with looking at that, um, and with looking that I was expecting price to pull up and reach for those uh for Friday's PD array, which is these two levels right here, right? This morning when the market opened up at 9:30, right? Let me break this down to the 30 minutes so we can see it in intervals of 30. Right, so we see market open up at 9:30 for the opening bell, right? We reached up, and when price reached up, notice, right, where's your 12 o'clock opening price at? 12 o'clock on your trading view chart is the 4 zeros, double zero, 000. That is your 12 o'clock price. If you mark that price, you'll see we opened up New York opening bell. We reach right up above that opening price, right? Um, let me see something real 1 second. Yeah, all right. So we reached up 9:30 opening bell above that opening price, reaching for those premium arrays that I wanted to see price reach for, right? Um, and then we seen price respect that New York opening price, right? And start to sell off aggressively. And when we break this down to 5 minutes, right? We see price reach up above that New York opening price, 2-day opening price, right? And start to break down. And within that breakdown, you see what? The 2022 model. What is the 2022 model? The 2022 model is a run of a higher time frame liquidity, right? So we see that run right there, higher time frame liquidity, because we're on the 5 minute. This if we go up to the hour time frame, right, we see that buy side liquidity ran right here, right, along with the New York true day opening. And then we see that buy side liquidity, right there, that hour buy side liquidity price. Let me take that off. Price ran that, right? So that's your higher time frame liquidity run, right? Take that off now because it's just too much going on, right? So we see that run. So what is 2022 model? Run of higher time frame liquidity, right? And then a run of a short term sell side liquidity, right? Boom. That run of that short term sell side liquidity. We also see a power of three form right here. You got so many confrontations. That's why I said this morning was textbook. Power of three, right? Highest candle that ran the higher time frame buy side liquidity, right? Highest candle, candle to the left and right, both lower, forming that power of three, right? Taking out that short term liquidity, right? Then we see the displacement lower, right? After we take out that short-term liquidity, we see the displacement lower. That displacement lower should create a what? Fair value gap. Does it create a fair value gap? Indeed, it does, right there, right here, right? Um, and then the bigger displacement, which I would consider this the real displacement, right? Because we see the run of the short-term liquidity right here. I mean, yeah, short-term sell side liquidity after we have the run of the higher time frame liquidity above run of the short-term liquidity here, right? And then we want to see displacement after we run that short-term liquidity, and we want to see a fair value gap created within that displacement, right? So here's the displacement here. Does it create a fair value gap? Yes, it does, right? That's your entry. When price runs back up into that fair value gap after the displacement, that is your entry, right? Now, of course, people more skilled, more experienced traders, they're getting in up here because they already understand what's happening right here before it even happens. They're already looking for the run of the higher time frame liquidity. If they're bearish, right, then they're already looking to buy. I'm sorry, they're already looking to short above the true day opening midnight price, right? So all of that is occurring right here in this candlestick. In that week, all of that just occurred, right? The opportunity to buy above New York, right? We see price run higher time frame liquidity, right? We see it immediately break down and run short-term sell side liquidity, right? We see price after that run of short-term sell side liquidity, we see price run back up, but it does not break above that highest candle, right? Then it breaks back down, making this power of 3, right? Then we see the displacement, right? And in that displacement, we should see a what? Fair value gap, right? And we do see a fair value gap. When price pulls, now, if you want to, excuse me, if you want to be, it's 3 entries you can take when taking this entry, right? You can take the aggressive entry, meaning you want to get in as soon as price comes back up into that fair value gap. That's the most aggressive entry, right? Because where's your stop loss going to be? Your stop loss is going to be above this high, right? You can put it right there, or you can put it above the fair value gap, right? But if you enter here, it's still more it's aggressive, right? Because you got 2 other places that price could possibly pull up to. Where are those 2 other places, Mr. Levels? Consequent encroachment of that fair value gap, right? Which is the halfway mark of the fair value gap, or it could pull all the way back up to the top of that fair value gap, right? So this would be aggressive. This would be conservative, right? And this would be the least aggressive or most conservative entry, right? A lot of times this entry isn't going to get filled. This order isn't going to get filled because most of the time price will only reach up into that lower level of that fair value gap or consequent encroachment. So what I like to do is I like to keep it conservative and I like to use the consequent encroachment, right? Or if I'm feeling, a little frisky or a little froggish, right? I do 2 entries. I do a twin trade. I set an entry here and I set an entry at consequent encroachment. Put both of my stop losses for both above the fair value gap, right? And let it ride. What will your target be? Your target would be sell side liquidity, right? Right here. Sell side liquidity. Um, Consequent encroachment. Sorry. It gives you 10 handles or more because the mentor says you only want to take the trade if it at least pays out 10 handles or more. These are your handles. These are your ticks. So this was 12.75 for 51 ticks. So that's well within the parameters of the other trade setup. And right, and we see prices trend back down to retest that lower level of that of last week's PD array, right? We seen price run down into there a few times today. 3 o'clock and for London this morning, and then we came back down there for New York PM, and we eventually made our way back down to fill in that daily fair value gap for ES. If we look at this on a daily time frame, this is that daily fair value gap that Will took his trade. He didn't take it off of the fair value gap, but that was his targets today for his last trade that he shared in the group, was this lower level of this daily fair value gap. This is the daily time frame, and this is that daily fair value gap. And we seen price run down into that lower level of that daily fair value gap. And that's where we closed today. Up a little off of that level, right? So yeah, I want to see us. I gotta clean my charts up. Y'all get all this lipstick off of here. Let me see some. Yeah, where's my eyes drawn to? Right here. Fair value gap that we haven't seen retested. What is this from Thursday? Yeah. Uh-huh. Fairly even highs right here, fairly equal highs right here, right? So being that we just closed in that weekly PD array in that daily fair value gap, let's see if we respect that level and continue to push to the upside. What's this, the hour? Okay, yeah. You get this. Uh, all that, all right, say that out. All right, so we got our weekly PD array, our daily PD array, and these three levels here is from the last week's discount array. I'm gonna leave them on there because price gonna play or use those levels all throughout the week unless we just straight up break below the daily fair value gap. And then we will start targeting imbalances to the downside. We got imbalances here and here. So that's what we'll be looking for futures moving forward, all the way across the board for U30 as well. Yep, you should see some upside action. So let's see what the week ahead gives us, guys. Last but not least, crypto. You know, BlackRock made some announcements about crypto last week, got everybody all up in an uproar. Um, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised if we see one more sell off down into this range, right? Before we see Bitcoin take off. Now I could be wrong. Bitcoin could just go ahead and take off, start hitting our levels to the upside at 32.5, 40,000, and so forth and so forth. But I would not be surprised if we see one more good squeeze. And we might even fall down into here. Right? This last imbalance we see, well, that ain't the last. Well, we came down in here. Mm, mm, mm. I hope we leave this to come back and a later. I don't know, that might hurt. We might need to come and get this before we go to 100,000. Yeah, we might need to come get that before we go to 100,000. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised, guys. One more last squeeze. Ooh, that would be, boy, that would hurt some people right there. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Anything's possible though, guys. Anything's possible. Um, hmm, yeah. So that's what I'm expecting from Bitcoin. I want to see if we at least get a pull back down into this range, right? That'll be my first. Right. See if we pull back down there now. And then if we right below there, you know, I'll be expecting us. Other than that, you can see Bitcoin go to the moon, as they like to say. 40,000 would be, or 32.5. I already got that one. 40,000 would be. So yeah, so I'm looking at for a biddy. Same thing pretty much for Ethereum. Um, yeah. And eight, you know the scope. Dollar cost average in. Here we go. You've been getting these low prices. You are on side. You are on the right side of the market. To be able to get ape at $1.97 and ride her all the way back up to 25, 28, $30. Yeah. Might even take a year from now, but mm, 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 that is some hell of a profits, y'all. That's some hell of a profits. So yeah, hang in there. Keep strengthening your position in crypto, but only, you know, utility, crypto with real utility, which I do believe in the utility that Yuga Labs is building. Um, Bitcoin and Ethereum is obvious. I'm gonna be dropping the other coins that I really see um tremendous growth coming in, right? Some of them we've already been in and we've already um, taken advantage of the last bull market with. So when the next bull market comes, we want to be in position as well. So I'll be dropping those altcoins in the Telegram group later. But other than that, that will conclude the beginning of the week technical analysis. Carmen's not with us tonight, so she will be dropping the fundamental analysis in the group. At this time, I'll stop the share and recording and take any questions.